based on the questions you have sent to you have posted last week as well as sent to me via WhatsApp. So before starting that discussion, let us take the opportunity to think about how fortunate and how rare this occurrence of listening to Dhamma and discussion of Dhamma is, because the emanation of a Supreme Buddha, emanation or revealing of Supreme Dhamma, and the presence of Supreme Sangha is a very rare thing to happen, as well as the human life. So everything has somehow come into place because of the meritorious deeds we have done in the previous lives. So today also, due to that meritorious power we have generated, all the with the accumulation or agglomeration of all those meritorious power, the perfect environment for us to understand Dhamma may occur, and all the four needed components to become a Sotapanna: Kalyana Mitta Sevana, Saddhamma Savana, Dhammapada, and Yoniso Manasikara may come together, opening our eyes of wisdom as well as completing the rest of the pathway, ultimately attaining the supreme bliss of Nibbana. Accept this blessing with the sadhukara.
Sadhu,
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
And also, we know that we have done various unethical deeds, unwholesome acts towards various sentient beings in this universe, especially if we have done anything wrong against Supreme Buddha, Supreme Dhamma, and Supreme Sangha. Let us take this opportunity to see our faults, reflect on us, and understand that these are faults that we have done because of our avidya, because of our ignorance, and we are seeing the faults since we have understood the Supreme Dhamma, and we are determining ourselves that we are not going to do those kind of wrong things again, 10 immoral deeds or 10 unwholesome acts again towards Supreme Dhamma or towards any sentient being for that matter. And with that determination in mind, let us seek forgiveness in front of the living Supreme Buddhas with this sadhukara.
sadhu, sadhu,
Sadhu, sadhu.
So today, in the last week, we got a question, and it was a bit of a we needed a bit of a considerable time to answer that question, so we postponed that question for today. And the question is about Sabbe Sankara Anicchati, Sabbe Sankara Dukkhati, and Sabbe Dhamma Anattati. So there's a difference in the third verse or third gatha, and instead of Sabbe Sankara Anattati, we have our Supreme Buddha he has used Sabbe Dhamma Anattati. So what is the difference between Sankara and Dhamma, and why instead of Sankara and Anattati, he has used Sabbe Dhamma Anattati? Is a very good question and a very good observation to do when it comes to when we are trying to understand the Pali canon. So the stanza or the Pali Gatha goes like this: Sabbe sankhara anicchati yada panyaya passati atani bindati dukke esa maggo visuddhiya. So the maggo means the pathway, visuddhiya means the we can say enlightenment, or we can say arihathood. So that is where we aim. So that is, he says that it is the pathway, as a maggo, this is the pathway to Nibbana, Visuddhiya. Visuddhiya, we can again call it Nibbana. So what is the pathway to Nibbana? Yada panyaya passati. If you understand with wisdom, what did you understand with wisdom? The nature of sankhara, the nature or the reality of sankhara, which is sankhara, all the sankhara, sabbe sankhara, anicchati, cannot be controlled according to your expectation. That is what you need to understand with wisdom, not with just rationalizations or rational, we call them, not with logic, but with wisdom. Those are two different things. So, yada panyaya passati, atani bindati dukke, then that person would be free from dukkha or suffering, or that person would not get attached to suffering. We always get attached to suffering, not knowing that it is suffering. But since the wisdom, the eyes of wisdom has opened, that person would not get attached to the suffering. Suffering that we see through wisdom, not the suffering that we feel through sensation. That nobody would get attached to that suffering. So the next gatha goes like sabbe sankhara dukkhati, and the rest is the same. So that is also another reality that you need to understand when it comes to the Ahara pathway. So it is also something that would get you towards the Nibbana. So the last one is sabbe dhamma anattati. That's the last one, and these three gathas they have an order. So first one is anicca, second one is dukkha, and the last one is anatta. The order does not change, because knowing that there's an order, so you have never heard that first somebody says sabbe dhamma anattati and then sabbe sankhara dukkhati. Not like that. It goes like sabbe sankhara anicchati, sabbe sankhara dukkhati, and then sabbe dhamma anattati. Because these three gathas explain different occasions or different levels of understanding. First one is the basic level of understanding. Second gatha explains a more advanced level of understanding, and the third one, when you fully understand the gatha, that is the end of the pathway, and you have finally completed your Ahara pathway. And that is why the depth of the gathas, depth of the meanings, or depth of the reality that you see increases when the understanding about this each gatha deepens, or when you go towards the latter gatha. So let us see what sankhara is. And we have discussed this, what sankhara means. So, sankhara, we know what sankhata is. Sankhata is the production of, or the production, what got made out of the process of sankhara. Sankhara is a process. It is the creation is the sankhata. Creating process is the sankhara. So at the end, we get a lot of sankhata through this process of sankhara. When it comes to our mind, when it comes to ourselves, we have three types of sankhara based on the roughness, or we can say the fineness or roughness. The finest sankhara is the mano sankhara. That is the thought process that is created in our mind, that is finer. Then the use of words, or vitakka vichara, that is vachi sankhara. The words, use of words, use of words in our mind to create sentences in our mind. And it is called thinking words or thinking sentences, and then putting that into practical use of it, or putting that into sound waves using our vocal cords and mouth. So that is vachi sankhara, and the final one is kaya sankhara. Kaya sankhara means the use of body or bodily actions or physical activity. So that is based on roughness or fineness. But the next type of classification is sankhara can be also classified as abhisankhara and sankhara. So those are two different things. So even an arihat talks, he also performs activities, and he also thinks. Even Supreme Buddha does that. But that is different from a lay person's thinking. So when it comes to the description of sankhara, when it comes to the Paticcasamuppada Vibhanga of Vibhanga Prakarana, it says that there are 6 types of sankhara. 3 without raga dvesha moha, 3 with raga dvesha moha. What are the things without raga dvesha moha? First one is mano sankhara. Then feeling and sensation. Sensation as an identification is called as mano sankhara. Then vachi sankhara is vitakka vichara. And kaya sankhara is aswasa praswasa, asasa pasasa. So when it comes to asasa pasasa, we have to understand why only, is it only asasa pasasa, or inhalation and exhalation is considered as kaya sankhara? Then how does an arihat go to the washroom, or go for pindapatha, or change postures? Because if only asasa pasasa is considered as kaya sankhara, since he cannot have the kaya sanchetana kaya sankhara, which is full of raga dvesha moha, then there's a problem. So we have to identify what asasa pasasa here is. In our body, every action is created or is manipulated by 2 muscles which has opposing actions. For example, take the elbow joint. we have the tricep to reduce the angle of the elbow joint or contract. When you contract the bicep, the elbow joint is, the elbow is turned, or it is, the angle of the elbow joint is reduced. It is flexed. Elbow joint is flexed. And when the tricep is contracted, elbow joint is extended. So it goes like that. So one is contracted. So for example, when the bicep is contracting, the tricep relaxes. And when the tricep contracts, bicep relaxes. So the two muscles work in opposite ways. One relaxes, one contracts in order to give the action. So it has a, if you understand, it has an action of inhalation and exhalation. So the use of the words inhalation and exhalation when it comes to the use of English is not quite right, but that is the only translation we have when it comes to asasa and pasasa, because asasa is known as inhalation and pasasa is known as exhalation. But you get the correlation. You contract one muscle and you relax another. So if you go into depth and go into the superior understanding of a person who can see beyond these five senses, like Dhammadassi Thero, he has seen that it is our karmaja vayo dhatu. Oh, there's a part called vayo dhatu. Or why? What is the nature of vayo? The nature of vayo is expansion and contraction. So when it comes to the connection of our mind and body, it is the karmaja vayo dhatu that helps the movement of our body. So what happens is karmaja vayo dhatu is filled to the muscle that is contracted, which is inhalation, and released from the muscle that get really relaxed, which is exhalation. So now there's a better understanding why the words exhalation and inhalation are used for the bodily actions, except we can always use it for the normal exhalation and inhalation. So in that also, it's the same thing. One set of muscles are contracted. For example, the diaphragm is contracted and air comes into the lungs with the intercostal muscles getting contracted. And when exhalation happens, the diaphragm gets relaxed as well as the intercostal muscles, part of the intercostal muscles, and then it creates exhalation. Inhalation and exhalation goes like that. So two actions, or every muscle, every action in our body which occurs through various joints happens in both directions. So that comes because of this supply of opposite and oppositely working muscle systems. So that I hope you understand what asasa, pasasa, kaya sankara means now. So now we can explain everything that an Arihat does through this model. So we have to go to the Anarya, or lay person's actions, as well as a person who gets disciplined, still not disciplined, but still working on it. They also have this kind of sankhara. What are those? Mano sanchetana, mano sankhara, vachi sanchetana, vachi sankhara, kaya sanchetana, kaya sankhara. You see the presence of sang. Chetana means creation of chitta. So kaya sanchetana means you have to always create chitta for the bodily actions or bodily movement to happen. But when it is out of sang or ragadvesha moha, we call it kaya, because it's for the kaya or the body. The kaya part comes because it is full of ragadvesha moha. The sang, the parts called sang, is also added, and because it is based on the mind, the chetana or the creation of chitta, creation of mind is also added. Then you get kaya sanchetana, kaya sanchetana, kaya sankhara. So it is the same for vachi sanchetana as well as the mano sanchetana. This is very important for our next question as well, because the next question is about ahara. We can say the type of food that fuels this sansaric journey. And one of them is mano sanchetana ahara. The other one is vijnana ahara, kabalinkara ahara. Then there's pasahara. There are 4 ahara, or 4 types of fuel that energize or that keeps the sansaric journey going. So that is the next question. So back to the old one. So here now we get 6 types of sankhara. That is the next type of classification based on whether they are full of raga dvesha moha or full of the action is done without raga dvesha moha. And these are called avyakuta kriya. So we know that since we have understood, we have learned about the Paticcasamuppada, we know that this avidya is what gives rise to sankhara, and avidya sankhara happens at the same time. Without avidya, there's no sankhara. That happens because of raga dvesha, of course. So these two happens at the same time, and when we have understood with a very good analogy where the creation of clay pots, with that analogy where we took where the production is named as which is vijnana, is named as the creation of a clay pot, and clay was compared to avidya, and the creation or the making of the pot or the pottery action is considered as sankhara, and at the end we get the clay pot. It can be a clay jug, it can be anything. It can be anything. Based on the shape of the sankhara, you get the vijnana, and the type of clay can be avidya or it can be kusala mula. So if it is a kusala mula, then the type of clay is different, so the vijnana is different. So that is how we understood the basis or the fundamentals of sankhara, and the correlation between avidya, sankhara, and vijnana. So here now our focus is to understand the sankhara, sabbe sankhara. So sabbe sankhara, now we have understood it in 3 or two methods. One is based on the fineness and or roughness. The other one is based on raga, dvesha, moha. So that is the sankhara related to a person. But sabbe sankhara is all the sankhara, not just for us, but for others as well, all the sentient beings. Everyone's sankhara, not only our sankhara, but all the one sankhara. So to understand that somewhere sankhara has happened, the easiest way is if there's a sankata, then the process of creation of that sankata is always called sankhara. So you see tables, chairs, people talking, that means people dancing, people doing various things, as well as the non-living things also doing various things happening to those, changing the nature, sankata nature. For example, a tree can fall due to wind. Now the sankata or the production was changed, and the process is sankhara, through sankhara, process of sankhara. And these processes also falls under sankhara. So it's for easy purpose to understand it easily, we can simplify it with the word action. Sankhara is action. So every sankhara is anicca, not according to our expectation. Why? Because our expectation is not a cause that is needed or that is essential for that sankhara to happen. We have discussed this during our past discussions, how even if we like or not, if all the causes get aligned, our body works. If you know about the knee jerk, there's a thing called knee jerk when it comes to the medical medical practices. For neurological examination, they use something called the knee jerk. In that, what they do is they hit the lower part or the kneecap, lower part of the kneecap, where there's this tendon, and when the tendon is stretched, the nerve signal is sent, contracting a muscle, which as a result, the leg is extended. Without the voluntary or without the consent or without the use of the voluntariness of the person, without his approval or without his knowledge, without his control, the leg is extended. So we know that if all the causes get aligned, our likeness or dislikeness is not a cause. So we understand now that is why it is not according to our expectation. The easiest way to understand is someone is driving a vehicle, but in reality, someone else is remotely controlling the vehicle. But the person inside the vehicle thinks, now the person inside the vehicle is avidya. So he thinks he can control the vehicle. But in reality, someone else is controlling the vehicle, and that someone else is paticcasamuppada. The process of paticcasamuppada, the mechanism which is hetum paticcasamubhutang hetubhanga niruchyati. Meaning, if all the causes are aligned together, the result will occur, and if not, the result won't. That is the fundamental principle that controls this, just like the person who is behind the scene, who is actually controlling the vehicle. But avidya thinks, no, I am controlling the vehicle. So the thing is, most of the time, avidya get tricked as the result of the cause and effect principles also aligns with the idea, or with the choice of avidya. For example, if the avidya wants to turn the vehicle to the right side, since all the causes align, it turns to the right side. But avidya thinks, no, it is my influence or my action or my will, my expectation is what turned the vehicle, not the causes. So he always gets, or the avidya always get tricked. So the avidya is fed by this new data or information which is taken in. But the thing is sometimes when the person or the avidya wants to turn the vehicle to the right side, since the causes do not align, it goes straight, or it turns to the left side. Just like when you meet with an accident, you try to lift your arm just after the accident, but something has gone wrong. You cannot. You don't feel your legs. Now at that point, you get so afraid, so disappointed, and it is a very, very confusing and a suffering mindset, because that point you don't know what happened. All of these years I was able to do this, but today, after this incident, I cannot do it anymore. And the thing is, you were not able to do those according to expectation throughout this lifetime as well, but you were tricked by the results. So it is the same for the mind, body, as well as the external world. The thing with the external world is you can see it a bit easily, because most of the time external world goes wrong. So things you want does not happen. So you understand this anicca, sabbe sankhara anicchati. And when you understand this, it is called you becoming sotapanna. If you understand it correctly, if you understand the core concept that this word is hetupala, or a result of causes and effects, and not a thing that is controlled by a person called me or God or anyone. So the control is it is an illusion, or just like somebody rotating a fireball, creating a fire ring. It is something like that. So the ring is not real, but it is there. You can visibly see it. You can feel it. But when you go through your wisdom, you understand, no, it is a process of a single fireball speeding around a axis, creating around a orbit, creating a ring of fire. So that is the understanding you would get, and this would complete the eye of wisdom, but not complete, but open the eye of wisdom. So that is why, even if you are a sotapanna, even if you are a person who has understood the supreme Dhamma, you understand that it is not according to my expectations, still you marry. You know the other person cannot be controlled according to expectation, and it is full of suffering. There's a saying, yadanichang tandukang. If something is anicca, that is dukkha. If something is anicca and dukkha, then that is anatta. So with that understanding is there in a Sotapanna person. So he knows I am trying to get attached to something of suffering nature. So even though that idea is there, that person still marries, still have kids, still likes to own things, still likes to buy this new car, still likes to buy this new land or buy this new house, still likes to do makeup, still likes to be do various kinds of attend various kinds of parties and everything. It is still there, but he knows I am getting nothing out of this, only the suffering. But in the end, with wisdom, of course, you would get the physical sensation, which can be always happy or blissful or suffering or neutral. It is there. That is what actually fuels this kind of a mindset. This happy feelings, blissful feelings are what fuels this kind of a mindset in a Sotapanna. But he knows in reality, when it comes to his wisdom, this is not what he wants, but still he gets caught because of the avidya and because of the mindset that because of the immature mindset when it comes to when you compare it with the Sakadagami and Anagami. So this is the initial idea someone gets. With the first gatha, this is the understanding of a person. And when it comes to the second gatha, sabbe sankara dukkhati yada panyaya passati atanibbindati dukke samaggo visuddhiya. So now you have followed the pathway for some time, and now the wisdom is developing. So this is also a samaggo visuddhiya. This is also the pathway to visuddhiya or nibbana. So this person is now developing the wisdom and goes increasing his the level of his view towards the world, or his level of understanding of the reality increases. So he knows now what dukkha means. So not that these three things come separately. You understand anicca, dukkha, and anatta. When you understand anicca, you also understand dukkha as well as anatta. And it is the same for the other two as well. When you understand dukkha, you understand anicca and anatta as well. And for anatta, if you understand anatta, if you understand anicca and dukkha as well. But there's this pattern where someone understand there's this kind of this is another pattern to explain the pathway. Now we are explaining the pathway. For when you enter the pathway, yes, of course you understand all three, but when you develop in the pathway, or when your mind acquire more and more wisdom, you understand these concepts more, and so you understand anicca better. So the next level, you understand the dukkha better. So you get rid of the so this is the pathway up until anagami. So the anagami person won't marry, won't have kids, will not need houses, will not want to buy new cars and everything, because the vastu kama and klesha kama both are gone. When it comes to sakadagami, the vastu kama is gone. Vastu kama is the need or the idea or this clinging nature to things where the mindset becomes impure and you want to own that thing. So, for example, you have a car and you like to have it. You like to own it. So initially you had a car and you thought it is your car and it is a very valuable thing and it is Nitya Sukha, it can be controlled, it is a Sankata that can be controlled according to expectation, and it is full of Sukha, or full of blissfulness and full of this essence. That was the initial idea. But when you reach Sotapanna, that viewpoint changes drastically, where you understand that this cannot be controlled according to expectation. This is an object that would drag me to suffering, and this is not essential. This is essenceless. In fact, essenceless. So that would be your understanding. Like to own it. That is the nature of a Sotapanna. Still, you like to. You are not that attached, just like a lay person, but you like to own it. You like to use it. You like to use your car to go to work. You like to use your car to roam around. But when it comes to a Sakadagami, you see the suffering nature. You see that how much I have become a slave of this vehicle. For example, you become a slave to things you own. You think that you own them, but in reality, they own you. How? The vehicle says, clean me. So you have to clean. The vehicle says, change my tires. Fill the fuel tank. Service me. And I'm getting rusty. Do something about it. And I met with an accident. Repair me. And you have become the perfect slave to the vehicle. So this is only seen by a person. This initial stage is seen even by a Sotapanna. But this is actually understood or grasped by the level, or the grasped by the wisdom when you go up high up in the pathway to Sakadagami. And when you reach that full understanding, when the level of wisdom is fully matured, your actions, you can see it with your actions. Initially, the viewpoint changes about this as well. But later on, the actions also changes according to the viewpoint. So at that point, you have become disciplined according to the viewpoint that you have. So you have become a slave and you understand this slavery. You do everything as the vehicle says. Otherwise, you would not get the blissfulness. It is just like a relationship between a slave and a master. So you do everything for the master, and the master gives food and maybe money or whatever it is in return. So food, money, and the comforts are compared to blissfulness. So what you get out of a vehicle, comfortable nature, comfortability. You are able to go anywhere you want, that comfortable mindset. So that would be the salary that you get from this master. But you have to serve the master. Without that, you would not get the expected salary, expected blissfulness. What if you say, no, I'm not going to repair. I'm not going to refuel. I'm not going to change your tires. Then you would not get that blissfulness. You would not get that comfort. You would not be able to use that car whenever you want. Then that would be and that you won't like that. You want to experience that blissfulness as well as you want to stay free, but you cannot have both. If you own a company, if you own few companies, if you are the billionaire or the richest person in this world, you are the biggest slave in this world as well. You are slave to many, many thousands of employees as well as several companies. You have to do exactly as they say, otherwise the blissfulness would not come. So with the developing wisdom, you would understand this. And when you understand this nature, you would not want to attach. You'd say, no, this relationship is toxic. I'm not going to continue this. And I don't want your salary. You keep it yourself. I don't need it. And I am not going to do as you say. So this is an example, and you have to understand the real nature through this analogy. So then what happens? The car says, clean me. No, I am not going to do that. I don't want to. I'm not a slave anymore. Treat me well. Then change my tires. Refuel me. Everything is said and you don't need to. So this happens gradually. So when somebody attains Sakadagami state, what happens? That person's this level, the slave mindset reduces. So he feels that I don't want to own my own vehicle. It is fine if it is somebody else's vehicle, but I would like this blissful. I would like the salary. I would like the blissfulness. So he would enjoy if somebody asks, I'll help you, or I'll give you a lift to the office every day. So you don't have to buy your own vehicle, but I'll help. I'll take you every day. But on some days, the person does not come. So you have to use the vehicle. You have to use your public transportation. But a Sakatagami person does not care. He sees the burden of owning a vehicle for that person, for himself. So he's okay, but he likes this blissfulness. He likes the salary. Somehow, if that comes, he does not want the full salary. The salary is reduced because he's not doing anything. He's okay with the allowance that is given, something like that. So when the mindset develops further and the wisdom develops further, what happens? Vastu Kama is already gone when someone attains Sakadagami, and the Klesha Kama also gone at the Anagami level. Then that person does not care whether he gets this help from the friend or not. If that person asks, he's okay with it. If the person does not come, he does not get this confused mindset, conflicting mindset, angry mindset, disappointed mindset is not going to happen. Or dosa mindset is not going to happen. What is happening then? What is being created in his mindset? He's okay. He does not care. It's because he does not care the salary anymore. He does not want it. He would work. Otherwise, he would use the public transport. He would not need. His mindset is not that attached to the blissful sensation of the objects that it uses. So this is how the mind develops. So sabbe sankara dukkhati. So this is how the person's mind starts to develop. You see the dukkha, suffering nature. That's why you do not end up in a marriage when you have reached anagami. You not end up having kids when you have reached anagami. That level is already gone. You're not seeing any benefit from it. You see the suffering nature. You see the connection or the relationship as a relationship between a slave and a master. So this is how the mind starts to develop. Even the body is also seen as a master, and mind is also seen as a master. And in reality, this is analogy, so it is not that there's a self apart from the mind and the body. It is the delusional or illusion that created by the Dhammapada or the cause and effect cycle. Just like the analogy we have used before, the ball of fire creating a ring of fire, that is how the mind or the self, the idea of self, an idea of me, mine, and myself is being created. So for this analogy, we'll use this anyway. So you are a slave to your mind and to your we can correctly say that you are a slave to avidya, to your mind as well as to your body. How? When your body says, I am hungry, do something about it. I want to go to the washroom, do something about it. I feel cold, do something about it. I feel warm, do something about it. My eyes are itchy, I am having a disease, I am having fever, do something about it. We'll do whatever we can to make the master happy. Otherwise, this master is different from other masters, the masters who are in the external world. This master punishes. If we do not do the thing, it punishes. Since that's the case, even an Arihat has to do that. Otherwise, if the hunger is not being treated, then you are being punished with suffering sensations. You are being punished. So if you are attached, just like the lay person, then you are helping the master very well. So the master gives a salary as well. Now he does not punish, but gives a salary as well. So what do you do when the master says, feed me something? You go to the best restaurant you can find and buy the best food that you like, and you eat it. Then what happens? He does not punish you. Instead, he gives you the blissful sensation, which is the salary, which is the extra, which is a bonus, and you get attached to it. When the salary is not given, still you get upset. That's the difference between an Arihat and a normal person. So an Arihat does not need this salary. He does not care what he eats. He does not care what, as long as it fills the belly, as long as it fills his or reduces his hunger or reduces the punishment, he uses it. He does not care what food. But the lay person or the person who is still in the pathway, in lower phalas, Sotapanna or Sakadagami, that person would go for the salary, look for the salary, look for the blissful nature. So this is the difference. So now you understand how the body works. When it comes to the mind also, based on your addictions in your life, watching drama, listening to music, whatever it is, whatever the addictions you have in your mind, then those addictions would be, or that mind would be your master, asking you to do something about these addictions, or listen to music. Otherwise, I will not give that blissful sensation, which is the salary, which is the good part. Then the normal person would do it, but even in an arihat, that is not the case. He would not go for that. So I hope you understand how the Sabbe Sankara Dukkhati works. So initially, if you have seen this relationship as suffering through the wisdom, not with the sensation, but because if you go to conclusions with the sensation you get, then you would anyway get attached. That is the normal person's viewpoint. But when it comes to the original mindset, or the mindset of a person who has understood reality, that person's viewpoint would change. That person would see this relationship as a relationship with a slave and a master. So sabbe sankara dukkhati. So why is it for sankara? So when it comes to a relationship with a master and a slave, it is about action. When it comes to the mind, it is about thoughts, creation of thoughts, as the service for the Lord, for the master. When it comes to body, it is the bodily actions, as well as sometimes it's the words that we have to use as the service for the master. When it comes to the external world, it is also the mind, body, and words, or the three sankharas, types of sankharas. So that's why it is called sabbe sankhara dukkhati. So now we'll go to the last part, which explains the Arihat Magga, pathway to Arihat, as well as which ends up in Arihat Phala. So at the Arihat Phala, there's nothing else to do. You have already completed, and that's the end. So up until that point, we have Sabbe Dhammanattati Yada Panyaya Pasati Yathani Bindati Dukke Esamaggo Visuddhya. Again, you get the understanding. It's right. You get what it says when this is being said. You would understand this is what is said by what is explained by this Gatha. But understanding it with wisdom is something different thing. It is something different, because when you understood it completely with wisdom, then your actions also changes. Action does not contradict what you have in your mind, or the viewpoint is the practical point as well. But up until that point, your viewpoint is one thing, but your practical actions does not align with your viewpoint. That is what we are trying to discipline in the Magga or Arya Magga. So, Sabbe Dhamma. What is Dhamma? Dhamma is the process, or we can say it is the mechanism. We'll go through a few examples. So to become a human, or to become a man or a woman, we have to have Manussa Dhamma. So to become a Deva, we have to have Deva Dhamma. To become a Brahma, we have to have Brahma Dhamma. To become a dog, we have to have Dhamma that would make someone a dog. Dhamma is the process, and this is a Paticcasamuppada process. So you know how in our discussions where we discussed the Paticcasamuppada in detail, we understood how someone becomes a god, someone becomes a dog, cat, a hellish animal, preta, or asura, or whatever it is. We have understood how things occur, how things come to life through the Paticcasamuppada process, and that is the Dhamma. And we understood what Buddha Dhamma is as well. Buddha Dhamma is also a Dhamma. What is Buddha? We know that everything is that we discussed up until now are Bhava. Manusa Bhava, Deva Bhava, Brahma Bhava, state of being. Then hellish Bhava, then Preta Bhava, then Tiraschana Bhava or dog Bhava, cat Bhava, we can say anything. So all of them are Bhava, states of beings. Or we can say these, when somebody creates the causes, the effect is imminent. It comes, it happens. We cannot stop it according to our expectation. That is the whole point. So when all the causes are being created, the process of creation of the end result is called Dhamma. So when it comes to Buddha Dhamma, so we understand what creates a Brahma, what creates a Deva, what Sankharas create a human, what Sankharas create a dog, cat, a hellish animal, Preta, then whatever the sentient being there is in this world, we know how all of them are created. Then Bhava Uddha. Bhava means the state of being. Uddha means elimination. And there's a Dhamma for that. There's a process to eliminate this Ansari journey, Bhava journey. So that is called Buddha Dhamma. So that is why in the end, when somebody attains in the middle, or when somebody attains Anagami, he has Dhamma Raga. So the Dhamma is the only thing now he is attached to, apart from Rupa Raga and Arupa Raga. So somebody can be attached to Rupa Raga and Arupa Raga, but still that person would not go into the Brahma worlds or planes of Brahma, where the normal lay Brahmas are there. That Anagami Brahma would straight away go to Suddhavasa, because his attachment is for Dhamma. So initially, if you thought Sabbe Dhamma Anicchati, then you cannot have, you would not follow Supreme Dhamma, Buddha Dhamma, because you cannot have anything. Also, you cannot follow, even if you follow the reality, you would not be able to reach to the destination. So if that's the case, then why would you follow the pathway in the first place? If Sabbe Dhamma Dukkhati, then Nibbana Dhamma is also Dukkhati, becomes Dukkhati, then that is a big problem. Then why would we go follow this pathway and attain Nibbana? Because it is also Dukkhati. So that's why Sabbe Sankhara Anicchati and Sabbe Sankhara Dukkhati comes. But when it comes to Sabbe Dhamma, you are not going to get attached to the Dhamma. In that case, you would not be able to attain Arihat Phala. So at the end, you see, so there's this very nice saying by Supreme Buddha. He says, this Dhamma is compared to a boat. It is to cross the Sansaric river or Sansaric ocean, not to keep it after crossing the river. So the person, if the person is so attached to the Dhamma after crossing the river, or at the end of the crossing, he cannot still get rid of the river. So he's in the river bank, he's still in the water, attached to the this vessel or the boat, trying to carry it towards the land in the next or in the other side. But you cannot carry this boat in your back or in your shoulders towards the land. It is a burden. So at the end, you get rid of that boat as well. So you are not attached to Dhamma as well. That is called you getting rid of Dhamma Raga eliminating all the raga and attaining the supreme phala, supreme result, which is nibbana. So you understand the difference between sabbe dhamma and sabbe sankhara. Sabbe dhamma applies to all the things. Sankhara is one. Rupa, Vedana, Sanya, Sankhara, Vinya. Sankhara skandha. So when it comes to 5 aggregates, Sankhara means Sankhara skandha. But everything has a component of Sankhara when it comes to accumulation of things. When it comes to Rupa, also when we are referring to the pure Rupa or the pattern, it does not have a sankhara. But as soon as it is being created in our mind, so as soon as we perceive the Rupa, whether it is a Rupa Rupa, Saddha Rupa, Gandha Rupa, Rasa Rupa, Pottabha Rupa, or Mano Rupa, whatever it is, when we perceive it, there is a part of sankhara there. So anything, any consciousness, any trance, or any connection, any association with this world is through sankhara. That is why sankhara is anicca, sankhara is dukkha. But when it comes to Dhamma, everything is a form of Dhamma. Because the result, the sankhata, the result, the sankhara is the process. So sankhata as well as sankhara both falls under Dhamma. So everything is anatta, has no essence in it. Why? Because of the viparinama nature. Ends up in this destruction and keep deteriorating and ends up in death. Decay and death is a phenomenon of everything. Why would we get attached? So even the pathway is not something you would get attached, but that is a path that you would follow in the Arihat pathway and not before that. If you start following this path, that is why you cannot step on the steps. Let's say there's a staircase, and at the end of the staircase, there are few steps. Let's say the last 3 steps, you cannot keep your foot, or you don't have the ability to put your foot on the last 3 steps when you are still in the bottom of the staircase. You still have the ability, you only have the ability to keep the foot on the immediate next step. That is possible. So that is why this becomes a pathway. So you are not going to get rid of Dhamma at the beginning. That is not how it happens. You would get attached to Dhamma. You would get attached to the pathway, Arya pathway, and you would follow it. And you would experience that the amount of suffering starts to reduce when I do that. And it would go down until you attain anagami pada. So up until that moment, the suffering would reduce with this attachment to Dhamma. So since you follow the Dhamma, you get rid of all the raga, dvesha, and moha. Kama raga especially, and patiga. So when that is gone, then the only burden you have would become this boat or Dhamma. And that is the time you would get rid of Dhamma. Otherwise, if you get rid of Dhamma in the first place, you would still have that big amount of raga, dvesha, moha in you, and you have not achieved anything. You are still in the same old place because Before hearing this Dhamma also, you did not know about Dhamma. We are referring to Buddha Dhamma. So getting rid of Dhamma is not the first thing to do. It is the last thing to do in the Ahara pathway. So sabbe dhammananthati. Yada panyaya pasati. Yata nibindati dukkhe samaggo visuddhya would be the end of the Ahara pathway, and that would bring you to the Arihatpada. I hope you understand what we have discussed so far. If you have any questions regarding today's topic, anything, you can post it in the chat, or you can tell it directly here, the platform.
Thank you very much, Thero, for that. Very well explained, using the states as well as the three verses there. So thank you very much for that. And with that, as Thero invited, if there's any clarity or questions on that particular question before Thero moves on to the second question, I think that was posted to us or to Thero directly. We'll give a minute or two. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask or put it into the chat box. Thank you very much. We'll give one more minute, Thero, and afterwards, maybe we can move on to the next question.
Yeah, sure.
Just wanted to add this while if there are any questions that are coming in. As I was listening to your explanation, I was thinking even if one wanted to let go of the Dhamma, it would be impossible, because if once you understand it, the release it gives you, etc., you will be bound to it. So it will be a natural state.
Yeah.
When it comes to the right point for it's something that will let go as a byproduct of the process than a choice, so to say, that you make.
Yeah.
When you
True.
think about it. Yes.
Yeah, the thing is, some people, what they do is, if somebody has got into the understanding, completed the understanding, or opened the eyes of wisdom, then there's no problem. Anyway, he wouldn't be able to do
Correct.
that, and he wouldn't do it anyway. But if somebody is still in the process of opening the eyes of wisdom and got this viewpoint, that this wrong viewpoint, that the Dhamma is also a problem, it is the biggest problem, and I have to drop Dhamma immediately, then he is nowhere. He would not be able to understand anything. So that is the problem. Otherwise, a person who has already understood Dhamma would never be able to do that, and he would not get that mindset as well, because he has seen the results.
Correct. I think that's a good point to make, Thero, because in the process of trying to understand it, if you get ahead of yourself and get the wrong viewpoint, like you mentioned, then you'll harm the process. But rather, when you take the journey to understand it, then it becomes second nature. Thero, I think with that, I think there is no questions coming in with regard to the explanation that was done. So I kindly invite you to move on to the next question that was referred earlier.
Yeah, sure. So the question is like that. May I have a question? At the end, at the 21st session, we learned the nature of law that tries to stabilize imbalance by karmic energy, like a boomerang. We heard that it is the law of nature that gives merits and debts back to someone. Practicing that analogy of Vijnana Ahara in Puttamansa Sutra came up. In that sutra, the Buddha said, in the morning, king strike bandit with 100 spear, in the noon and in the evening as well. So Lord Buddha said, Supreme Buddha said, we should see the Vijnana Ahara like these spears. I thought that 300 spear is all of Panchaskandha that we experience. If that is right, is it appropriate to contemplate this spear as a boomerang that thrown at past? So we have to go through the whole thing. Otherwise, you would not be able to understand what is this sutta is telling. So if we go through the whole thing, I have the Sinhala text. I would not be translating it fully, but we'll go through the Puttama Sutra, and it is in the Samyutta Nikaya, and it is something, it is a sutta that explains the 4 aharas. These are if you have listened to the Samanera question, especially in the Parithana Desanas, there are 10 components in that Samanera question. It goes like this: Ekanamaking, and Samanera Thero answers, the Supreme Buddha asks Ekanamaking, what is the only one thing? And he explains, Sabbe Satta Ahara. All the sentient beings are dependent on ahara. Ahara means food. If you get into the normal lay wisdom, or normal person's intelligence, then that person would think, yes, everybody has to depend on something. Everybody has to take food. Otherwise, that person would die. So that is not this is saying. The sutta here, which explains the Puttamansa, or the 4 aharas, explain the aharas that was explained in that sutra, so the Samanera Sutra. So the Dvenamaking, what is the 2? Namancha Rupancha, Nama and Rupa. Tini Namaking, what is the 3? Tisso Vedana. What are the Tisso? What are the 3 Vedanas? Blissful Vedanas, suffering Vedanas, and neutral Vedanas. Chattari Namaking. Chattari Arya Satchani. Chattari Arya Satchani means 4 noble truths. Panchanamaking. Panchupadana Kanda. Likewise, there are 10. I am not going to go through all the 10 because that is not the question that is asked here. So let's go through the ahara. So there are 4 aharas. What are the 4 aharas? Mano Sanchetana Ahara, Passa Ahara. Then there's this Vijnana Ahara, which is the question we have got today. And the first one is actually Kabalinkara Ahara. And so though I said it last, it is the first one which we have to understand. So the thing is, when it comes to the explanations of the which are in the most of the printed texts, are very, very wrong, because so in some text, Kabalinkara is being said as the things that are hard and needs to bite before taking in. But reality is, so why then Supreme Buddha always had rice and the things that he has got through Pindapata, which are solid, which needs to be processed in the mouth before swallowing. So that explanation is Totally wrong. The explanation where Kabalinkara Ahara, solid things that need biting. No, that is wrong. So there's another explanation where the Kabalinkara Ahara is something that should be fried. That is also wrong. There's nothing to do with Raga Dvesha Moha. Frying and Raga Dvesha Moha has nothing in common. So it is also wrong. So if you have gone through these normal books of which explain Dhamma, especially apart from the Tripitaka, or Pali Canon, then you'd encounter these kinds of wrong explanations. But the reality is, in Tripitaka it says Kabalinkara Ahara is Tanha Nidana and Tanha Samudaya. So Tanha, it should have the component of Tanha in it, not the physical food. There's no problem in having the physical food whenever you want, whatever you want, without Tanha, without the attachment. Because attachment itself to the things that develop this body or maintain this body is Kabalinkara Ahara. To tell you, you can take Kabalinkara Ahara without having food. How? Say somebody is dieting. This person is dieting because he is overweight. He diets to get into shape. Now he does not take anything, but he takes the Kabalinkara Ahara. Kabalinkara Ahara is the food that is taken, whether it is solid or whatever it is, whether it is physical or not, is not the problem. It is something which is connected to the mind. When you have avidya tanha attached with your body or the maintenance of your body. So why do you take food? To maintain your body. When it comes to the pratyaveksa of a monk when taking food, patisankha yoniso pindapatang patisevami neva davaya namadaya namandanaya navibhusanaya. Those are the 4 conditions that are being said. Neva davaya. This food is not to increase the what you call energy of our body. Not for that. Not to complete our bodily composition. So if somebody is having problems or disfigurements, or let's say the person's muscle mass is not enough, or something like these body parts are not completed, I feel like if I have this much of food, I will get fat or I'll get slim and my body parts would look better. Then that kind of a food which takes with that intention it does fall under Kabalinkara Ahara. Not the food itself, but the idea behind it. So the person who does not take food as well falls under Kabalinkara Ahara because his intention is having a good figure. Neva davaya, namadaya, not to increase the sensual or the sexual potential or the ability to act with energy. So namadaya, namandanaya, we already told what namandanaya. Navibhusanaya is again to complete the body, to make the body beautiful. And why is this a problem? Because you are attached to the body. When you are attached to the body, you cannot get rid of this world, and you trapped in this world where you would be having a physical body. When somebody got rid of this Kabalinkara Ahara, that person would straight away go into Anagami level. If you are able to get rid of this Kabalinkara Ahara, because he has no reason to be born again as a human here in this world, because he has no attachment whatsoever to this body. That is what you need to understand when it comes to Kabalinkara Ahara. So elimination of the Kabalinkara Ahara eliminates the possibility of being born again as a human, as well as a deity. Both those karma worlds, you go beyond those two realms, or from all the 6 realms of gods as well as human realm. Those are not a place for you anymore, because you become Anagami, you would anyway go to the Suddhavasa. If you have eliminated the only one thing, which is Kabalinkara Ahara. It is not, we are not saying that, the Supreme Buddha is not saying that you should not take food. You can take food whenever you want, whatever you want, without the attachment. But in the practicing era where you practice, or in the lifestyle where you practice this pathway, you have to know what type of foods increase my Raga Dvesha Moha and what kind of foods decrease my Raga Dvesha Moha. And based on that, you would have to choose and think twice before doing things. That is to make you disciplined. That is to make yourself disciplined. After that, after you attain that Phala Anagami level, when you have reached that level, you don't have that problem anymore. In that case, you have no restrictions anymore. Those restrictions are inflicted upon yourself for your own benefit, because it is not the food item that is problematic, but the mindset that comes with the food item. So that's why you are avoiding the food item, not because the food item is the Kabalinkara Ahara. I hope you understand about Kabalinkara Ahara. So the explanation the Supreme Buddha has given is, see the Kabalinkara Ahara as your own son's flesh. So the explanation is like this: three of you, a couple and his small son, very small, maybe 6 months old son, is going a journey through a desert, and all the water and food is already gone when they are at the middle of the desert, and they understand that all the 3 of them has to die because of this. So when and here it is very clearly said that they decides that we can have another child, but if we die, all 3 of us die. But if we want to survive, let's kill this child and eat his flesh and survive through this desert. Now this is an analogy. You have to understand this is an analogy. Not that Supreme Buddha is saying to kill children and eat when you are going through a desert. If somebody is understanding it at that level, then that is not a person with wisdom. So he is telling that this Kabalinkara Ahara, see, you have to kill the likeness. You have to kill the likeness and eat it. And to kill the likeness, you have to see it as your child flesh. It is a way of seeing it. Not that we are going to think this food is as child's flesh. This is an example. This is an analogy. You have to see how you see it. You have to see the Adinava Sanya. You have to see the Asubha Sanya. You have to see through Vidarshana. And you have to see that just like the son's food, son's flesh, There's no attachment to it. The only purpose of having that flesh is to fill the belly, because you would die otherwise, because you have to complete the Arya pathway. There's no choice. You have to take something, otherwise you would die. So you take it. There's no other justification for taking this food. So if you go that pathway, then the killing of the child is killing your attachment to it. And you are having the child without the attachment, having the flesh of the child. And the desert is, what is the desert? Desert is the samsara. You are crossing the samsara without getting attached to the Kabalinkara Ahara. And that is the pathway that you have to follow. So that is one part, one Ahara. What is the next Ahara? Passa Ahara. Passa Ahara, if you eliminate the Passa Ahara, you become Arihat straight away. Again, that is the same for Mano Sanchetana Ahara and Vijnana Ahara as well. If you eliminate those three, at least one, you would become Arihat. But when it comes to the case of Kabalinkara Ahara, you have to get rid of, when you fully eliminate the Kabalinkara Ahara, you still attain the Anagami Phala, not the Arihat Phala. That's the difference, because there are beings which do not have a physical body, just like Brahmas. That's why even though you get rid of the Kabalinkara Ahara, you become a Brahma. So this is what you need to understand. And now when it comes to the Passa Ahara, what is the problem with Passa Ahara? There's this Passa for Arihats as well. What is Passa? Passa is touch. What is touch? When the eyes and images touch, that is called Passa. What it creates is the Chakku Vijnana. For sound and ears, it is the touch that creates the Sota Vijnana. So the touch is the touching of the external and internal organs. When they touch, the result is Vedana. So when you see that this Passa as the explanation or the thing, the analogy the Supreme Buddha has given is, there's a cow, and this cow, wherever it touches, there's this kind of insects that eats the flesh of the cow. If he touches the wall, then the insects in the wall starts eating the flesh of the cow. If you lie in the ground, on the ground, then again the insects in the ground would eat your flesh, eat the flesh of the cow. If the cow go into the water, the same thing happens. So see the Passa as something like that. So still Arihats also has Passa, because they also see the Chakku Vijnana is also occurring there. Supreme Buddha also has this Passa. But what is the difference? See, you have to, using the example, you have to see like that. Not that you are getting rid of Passa. You are seeing it through wisdom, that there's the reality of Passa, reality of Vedana. So Vedananupassana would get rid of the Passa Ahara. So why do you want now you are actively searching for images. So you are actively searching for Passa. What? Passa of or touch of beautiful images, blissful images. You are actually looking for the touch of beautiful sounds, beautiful smells, beautiful tastes, beautiful touches. So you're actually looking for that touch. Why do you actually look for that touch? Because you think the Vedana, the blissful Vedana, are important. Nitya, Sukha, Atta, and Subha. You think that they have a value. But when you do the Vedananupassana, then you see that there's no value. Then the Passa Ahara, what is this Passa Ahara? This is some Passa, not the Passa. Passa, when it becomes a Ahara, it becomes some Passa. If it is just Passa, it is there in an Arihat as well. But when it becomes Passa Ahara, that becomes the fuel that fuels up the sansaric journey. So it becomes, again, there's another name, or there's this adivachana, or the synonym we can use, which is sampassa. Passa ahara is sampassa. Sampassa is with raga, dvesha and moha. So you are looking actively for passa. And you have to see this passa as this cow seeing the insects which would bite his flesh off if you get touched. So you would see you have to with a very calm and quiet mindset, you have to go through these examples and see the depth the Supreme Buddha has explained in these examples. So you have to see the passa ahara, sampassa. So this is avidya paccaya sankara, sankara paccaya vijnana. So it goes like, if you specifically go with the wordings, avidya paccaya abhisankara, abhisankara paccaya abhivijnana, abhivijnana paccaya abhisankara paccaya abhivijnana, abhivijnana paccaya namarupa, namarupa paccaya salayatana, salayatana paccaya sampasso, sampassa paccaya sampassaja vedana, sampassaja vedana passaya tanha upadana bhava chati. Then charamarana soka parideva dukkha domana supayasa sambhavanti. The same thing goes. So it is the sampassa which is the problem. So when you understand the Arya Dhamma, you would get rid of sampassa. And again, whichever the passa that would reduce the raga, dvesha, moha, you would associate with them. You would use them because it would help you to reduce our raga, dvesha, moha. Whichever the things that would increase your raga, dvesha, moha, you would see them as passa ahara, and as the cow seeing the insects which would kill her because of touching whatever the surface which contains this insects. Insects are raga, dvesha, moha, and you would not touch that kind of surfaces if you want to get rid of passa ahara. So that is passa ahara. Then there's mano sanchetana ahara. Again, there's sanchetana. We have discussed this before. Mano sanchetana. Not just chetana, not just mano sankara, the feeling and identification mano sankara, that is for an arihat. This is for the ahara, for the sansara, which is mano sanchetana. This is sankara. Avidya paccaya sankara. The type of sankara is mano sanchetana. In reality, it is the mano sanchetana that leads to kaya sanchetana, kaya sankara, and vachi sanchetana, vachi sankara, because it is sanchetana. It is chetana. Chetana is the creation of the mind. So it is always mind. So in here, when it says sanchetana, mano sanchetana ahara, you are referring to all the actions, all the sankara, all the things are bracketed here in the mano sanchetana, because when not like the Western education system, in Arya system, you have to go with wisdom. You have to understand what is being said here in that context. Not, you don't have any definitions. This is and this is that and this is this. You have to go with your wisdom, you have to go with your understanding and experience. Otherwise, you would not be able to understand what is being said. That is why you need this Artha Dhamma Nirukti Patibhana to decode this Pali canon. Otherwise, you would just be a blind person who is trying to find the pathway in a very scary jungle. So this is Mano Sanchetana Ahara. Then Mano Sanchetana Ahara is when you create Sankara out of Avidya. This is not just Kusala Mula Pachya Sankara. This is Avidya Pachya Mano Sankara. Or we can say Avidya Pachya Sankara. So if whatever the Sankara increases your Raga Dvesha Moha, then don't. Then the example given by Supreme Buddha, see it as a pit full of hot red coal. Coal means the coal that is used in that are digged in the mines. So the coal that is used as a fuel to generate electricity as well as for trains in the past. So this is the type of coal I am referring to, the coal in a pit, and these coal are burnt red hot coal, pieces of coal. So two strong people are trying to put you to this pit of coal, hot red coal, and you would know that what would happen to you. You would get burnt and you would burn alive. And the temperature of coal is very high. The heat energy in that pit of coal is very high. So what you would do is you would try your best to not to fall into the pit. These people are in the either side of you, and they are grabbing your arms. Both of them have grabbed your both arms, and they are pushing you towards this coal pit. So you are trying to do your best to get rid of that situation, and that is the situation you should have for Mano Sanchetana Ahara. And you have to see this, the resulting product, which is Jati, which should give the Soka Parideva Dukkha Domana Supayasa, the 11 flames, as the pit of coal. So you would not want that. So you would not associate with that kind of Sankara. You would not create those kinds of Sankara, Mano Sanchetana Ahara. So that is the explanation for Mano Sanchetana. So at the beginning, you are seeing the problem of Sankara. So you get the clay, but you have the clay, which is the Anusaya, but you are not creating various kinds of pots and pans and everything with the process. And this process is what you have to see as the pit of coal, hot red pit of coal. So this is the third one. So if you get rid of this, then again you would attain Arihat. If you are able to get rid of all the Ahara, if you eliminate all the Ahara. So the last one is Vijnana Ahara. I hope this would clear up the question, the problem as well. So I hope in the question, the idea or the main idea of the sutta, the core concept of sutta has been misunderstood. That's why this question was posted. I hope this understanding of what Vijnana Ahara is would get rid of the question, and I hope the question is solved. Otherwise, please put it in the chat so we can discuss further. So Vijnana Ahara. Vijnana Ahara is again Patisampada. We know in the Patisampada, Avidya Pachya Sankara, Sankara Pachya Vijnana. Now this is the Vijnana Ahara. So when the Vijnana is like a cow, a bull. So there are various ways to tame this bull or kill this bull. There's various ways to tame this bull, but killing of the bull is only there in Arya discipline. In other disciplines, there's no killing. They are there. They are weak. They cannot stand. They are still in the mind, the bulls. What is this bull referred to? Vijnana. So when there's a vijnana, when there's this kind of mindset, what is vijnana? If somebody is liking, liking this specific food item, he gets a mindset that likes this specific food item. If somebody likes a specific TV show, the TV show liking mindset is the vijnana. Then there can be whatever the song liking mindset. There are various kinds of raga mindsets, raga vijnana, dvesha mindsets, dvesha vijnana, as well as moha mindsets. Various kinds of mindsets based on the sankhara that creates it. So the person has various kinds of mindset. These are different types of bulls that you have in your mind. What does, if a bull is tied to a somewhere, caged or tied, that bull, you have to give food. You have to give a continuous supply of food. Otherwise the bull would get angry, agitated, and it would try to do whatever it can to get the food that it needs. The same is there with the vijnana. It tries to when you understand. Let's go through the yogi system first. In the what the yogis does is they go in the deep inside the forests, Himalayas and everywhere. So, and they hide. When they hide, there are no ahara for the vijnana. So the vijnana or the food, there's no food for the bull. So the bull becomes weak. When the bull becomes weaker and does not have any energy to stand up, they become dormant. They does not die. They become dormant, and they are there in their mind. But as soon as they come out of the forest and see the ahara, see the food, and these bulls are immensely fed on this food, and the level of understanding, level of samadhi, level of enlightenment they thought they have would just would get disappeared because of the action of the mindset coming back again. But when it comes to Arya Dhamma, since we are going for the prajna, the sword that kills the bull, so our way of getting rid of ahara, we are not going to the forest, we are not hiding, we are seeing the reality, we are seeing the problem. That's why the example where these spears, actually the thing is, the explanation here is not spears, but it is a form of what do you call punishment given in using a I don't know the specific word for that, but it is a kind of a rope, and with this rope you are hit in the back, and this is this is a very thick rope, and you get bruises, sometimes lacerations, because of this hitting with this rope, a long rope, thick and a long rope is being used for this punishment. And 100 in the morning, 100 in the noon time, and 100 in the evening is the example given by Supreme Buddha. So you have to see now the example about bull is also another one. So I would go through this example and go back to the original example. So here, this bull, if you do not give food to the bull, it would get agitated. You would see it, you'd experience it in the beginning, that your mindset is asking for this food that feeds this bull or vijnana. So even however much the bull tries, however much agitated it gets, if you stick onto the plan, the bull would start to get weak, and it would go weak and it would ultimately die, because you are doing it with wisdom, not with just samadhi or just with tactics. So when the bull dies, you don't have that problem. Whip, yeah, it's the whip. They use the whip in the last example given by Supreme Buddha. So so in here, so the thing is, the person, the bulls inside this person's mind is, when they are dead, you don't have that problem. The abhiññāna are all gone. Now that is, this bull can be compared to viññāna ahara. So what is being said by Supreme Buddha here is, see this viññāna ahara as a beating with a whip. Why? If you eat it, if you eat that ahara, you would be punished, just like the agitated bull trying to say. It's a mental torture. Say the person is drug addicted, and drug is the only ahara that fuels this mindset. So this person takes the drug and decides, no, I would stop it. I would never take it again. And he goes with the whipping, 100 whips in the morning, 100 whips in the noon time, and 100 whips in the evening. But it would reduce to 80, 60, 10, 20, 10, and will be gone. But if you see that viññāna as this example, as the whipping. So if you do not see that as the whipping, and you don't see it with wisdom, what would happen? After 3 or 4 days of so much beating, still you would feel that this drug is the only thing that could help you. So you would take it. Again, the beating starts with 100, and you would not be able to get out of that mental torture. And this is what is being explained here in the example. So if you see it as stated in the example, then you would never see that viññāna as you have seen it before. Your viewpoint would change. You would not get attached. You would just get rid of this mindset where you think that the ahara for the viññāna or the viññāna ahara is the salvation. Instead, you would see that it is the problem, it is the whipping, it is the suffering. So if you see in that way, you would get rid of the viññāna ahara, killing all the viññāna. At the end, that is also a path to nibbana, or that is also would end up in arihat phala. So this is the fourth ahara, and these are the 4 aharas we have to avoid in this pathway when we are following this pathway. Now these are different ways of explaining the same Dhamma. If you have understood this, everything is it fits to the other one. It's the same thing in different versions, so there's no contradictions. If you have gone through it, if you have understood what we have discussed so far, you would see that there's no contradictions. It adheres perfectly to the core concepts. So with that, I would hope that you have got the answer for the last one. If not, please tell that in the chat, so we can further discuss about what this ahara is about.
Thank you very much, Thero, for that wonderful explanation. And I think we'll give a minute or two for anyone to ask any clarifications on that particular question. Thero, have we received any further questions early on, or these are the two questions that?
Not today, not today. These are the two questions we have got throughout the last week.
Okay. In that case, if we do not get a question, Thero, I think there is a question coming from, it says, in reality, can the process of the mind in most cases be confirmed only by checking in front of, in the front of, like taking a test to check my skills?
Yeah, now that is not a good way of testing. So, because if you have that problem, that is like giving ahara. That is the exact thing that is not said to do when it comes to, that means intentionally giving it to check whether you have it or not. You always can use your imagination to see that whether I am able to withstand this or whether I am not. If you can feel the raga. If you, let's say you are attached to whatever the food item, the favorite food item in your mind. So you are attached to it. Let's say a piece of cake. This is the chocolate cake. So you are attached to chocolate cake and you have not taken it for a while because you have thought of getting rid of this Kabalinkara Ahara. You know that it creates the Kabalinkara Ahara, not the piece of food, not the piece of cake, but the mindset that is associated with it or created with it. You know that you have this problem. You are so attached to this cake type of cake, and you know that you have this problem, and you have decided, no, I don't want this. It is not needed for the survival. I would rely on other food and get rid of this mindset, and you do nothing about it. You have to do the vidarshanam, otherwise it would go down and it would be in the mind. So like a dormant vinyan, just like a dormant bull, still there in the mind. So you have to think, I have not taken it in a while. Is it still there in my mind? Think about, do you feel like taking it? Do you feel like having this food? And if you feel the ragic nature, the fire or the burning sensation that you get, the craving, then you would know that you have this problem. Still, it's not gone. I have to do the vidarshana. I have to see it with reality. I have to see it through the wisdom. Otherwise, this would not go away, and it would anyway go away if you attain the anagami pad. So otherwise, you have to get rid of it. Let's say you don't have anything to eat, and you die if you do not eat this cake, because you are starving and you don't have anything, and you have also decided that you would not take this food because it increases your raga dvesha moha. But in that case, you can take it because you have no other choice. Because let's say someone is attached to all the types of food, most of them, then that person would not have anything to eat, and he would have to die. It's not like that. That's why there's pratyaveksha. When you do the pratyaveksha, you are remembering the sole purpose why you are taking this. Just like in the example where the son's flesh was taken to cross the desert. So that would be your mindset. You would be so mindful, because that is the only time you are giving ahara, and you would be so mindful that during this time period you have to have the perfect sense, perfect wisdom, because otherwise you would get attached and the vijnana ahara, and you would get into the whipping. 100 whips in the morning, 100 whips in the evening, 100 whips in the noon, and that would start. Because you have gotten rid of this bad habit of eating this food item, or the ragika, the problem, or the vexation that was created by this food item was so heavy, you felt like whipping. But with time you got rid of it. But you don't have any choice now. You don't have any other food items. You just have this piece of cake to survive on it. So you have, for survival purposes, you see, for the crossing of the desert, I would use it, not for any other purposes, and you just not entertain your mindset, which craves for this taste. So that is how you do it, but you not but regularly test with that much kind of food, because if you do start doing it, your avidya is like this. This is a example how our mind works. We are doing we have started a war, and this war, the powerful party is our enemy. We are the less powerful party, and we have few friends. They are called Kalyana Mitra, and we are in this fortress, and our aim is to escape from this fortress. Fortress is made of avidya. The people in the fortress are made of avidya. There are few in the fortress who are also trying to escape, and they have formed a resistance, and this is called Arya brotherhood. Arya people. They are trying to escape. They are helping one another. They are making plans. But the thing is, our planning process, or when we are making battle plans, when we are trying to do our process of plotting, or our strategies, when we discuss our strategies, we have this special room for that. This is called the what do you say, strategy room or something. We can call it that name. So we go there and we discuss, sometimes with one another, sometimes alone, creating maps, creating strategies and everything, and we go. But the thing is, that same room is also used by our enemies to create their strategies, and they see our strategies. They see our papers, which we have used to plot and do whatever the things that needed. I am referring to our mind. So our mind is the same mind is used by, or the same namagotha. Namagotha is the memories. So when we use prajna, it creates memories. When you use avidya, it also creates memories. So just like the same room using by prajna and avidya, we are using the same memories. So avidya also knows what you are going to do. So it changes and it plots in the needed way to counteract. The same intelligence level is used. The laukika prajna, laukika or the mundane level of understand, the ability of intelligence is used by avidya to eliminate this plot of getting rid of this fortress of sansara. So when you decide that I would regularly check whether I have this problem, or whether it is reducing, when you have decided, that is you plotting your next pathway, or your good strategies to escape from this fortress. But avidya also knows this. So when avidya knows this, avidya creates very, very fine programs or fine plans to use that weakness for its benefit. So in that moment, most of the time would give ahara. The kabalinkara ahara would be given while the testing happens, and that would be enough for the bull to survive few more days. And when this happens repeatedly, then you would not be able to escape this fortress. But the thing is, if this problem has gone from your mind, say the example we have taken before, the piece of cake, if the craving for the cake has already gone, you would even not notice about it. You might suddenly notice, before I had this much of craving for cake, now it is just like bread. I don't feel anything. I was not thinking about it. The person has already given it to me. So I was just having it. And in the middle of having it, I just thought before, because you have the memories, before I was not like this. So the need for testing comes because it is not fully gone. You want to see how much of it is still there. But there's no need, because you have to anyway get rid of that small part as well. So have that mindset, because if you do that, your mind would play games with you anyway. Avidya is very, very smooth and fine when it comes to its games, because it uses the same resources. We are doing a war using the same resources, same guns, same artillery, same vehicles and everything. And at one time, one is playing the war, and the other time, other one is playing the war. So you have to know how to do it. That is why it is said, this is a very, when it comes to the pathway, it is not a very easy task. Just like it is not a walk in the park. It sometimes becomes very strategic. But a person with wisdom, a high wisdom, it would be a piece of cake. So that is I hope that explains an answer to the question you have posted here.
Thero, can we maybe add to that particular explanation? It's also, while we use the same faculties to counteract the avidya, while prajna pathway is stronger, because avidya has a lot more practice over the sansaric journey is where the problem is. If not, the prajna path will be superior when it's used, but there is more practice to the other side.
Yeah.
Would that be correct to say, just to clarify that point?
Yeah, it is something like this. This war, one side have played the war since the beginning of the sansara. They have a lot of practice, but they have primitive weapons. But when it comes to prajna, the weapons are very advanced, but the practice is less. So we sometimes have to be cautious. But as soon as the light is created or light is there, as soon as the sun rises, there's no place for darkness. Just like that, when the prajna is on, there's no place for those primitive weapons being used, because prajna is always superior. But you have to be cautious, because not always the prajna is being created. Most of the time it is the avidya in the initial phase. But as the time progresses, as you go in depth in the Arya pathway, that changes. But initially you have to be cautious, because the people or the army with the prajna is less. There's a small army with very sophisticated technology, that is right. But when it comes to the other party, it is huge and it has a lot of experience.
Thank you very much, Thero. I think it's a very fine explanation, and also something which is very, how do you say, that comes to you regularly, because when you're in the process, you understand that avidya is very crafty, and it tries to seek through the little holes that you create in your day-to-day practice. So unless we have any other questions, Thero, since we've passed 2 hours already, we'll invite if there are any further questions to be posted. If not, we will.
I think the last question we have discussed was posted by Mr. Namo. So I hope you don't have any questions regarding the question you have asked.
I think it seems to be
clear.
So
I hope it's okay. Yeah.
In that case, Thero, sorry, please go ahead.
So we'll wind up the session. I was going to say the same thing.
Sure, we'll wind up with Anumodana. So let me kindly invite Venerable Thero to conduct a short Anumodana to complete this session. Over to you, Thero. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
So today we discussed the core concepts of Dhamma, especially how we should practically do this and complete our pathway. And in this process of understanding, we have been very mindful, and we have been trying to understand the deep concepts of Dhamma and trying to associate them into our Arya practice. So the amount of meritorious power which was generated today, thinking about the reality, anicca, dukkha, and anatta nature of the world, is immeasurable. So with this immeasurable amount of meritorious power, may everyone get the perfect background to understand the Supreme Dhamma. All the hindrances, obstacles you have throughout this samsaric journey towards the Arya pathway may get diminished, and all the good, meritorious or positive energies that you have created may agglomerate together, creating the perfect environment for everybody to understand the Supreme Dhamma, completing the Arya pathway, attaining the supreme bliss of Nibbana. Accept this blessing with the sadhukara.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Sadhu, 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 sadhu.
So today, the amount of meritorious power which we have generated, we are going to transfer it to all the people, sentient beings who have helped throughout this samsaric journey as a showing of gratitude towards them. So let us remind all the dead relations we had throughout this samsara, people who have helped us throughout this samsara, our parents who have given their best to help us, feed us, treat us when we are ill, and do what is best for us. And because of them only, we are able to lead happy and good lives, and we have become good citizens because of them. And we have to remind all the people who have given us good, righteous jobs, people who are associated with us in those workplaces, people who are associated with us throughout the samsara, people, children, neighbors, who constructed our homes, workplaces, roads, wells, and trees and everything. Whether we have remembered them or not, let us all remind the people who have helped us and make this opportunity to transfer this meritorious power to them as a gratitude towards the things they have done to us, and also the people who were harmed and hurted by us because of our wrong vision, because of avidya. We have done various unethical deeds, various immoral actions towards all the sentient beings in the universe, and let us seek forgiveness by understanding what we have done is wrong and determining ourselves that we are not going to do those kinds of things again. And with that, understanding, with that wisdom, that we are going to transfer this meritorious power to them as well. And also the beings that are attached to our bodies, our lands, and the ones who are looking for merits, let us remind them as well. And also the sentient beings who and also the people who helped us in various ways to have this conversation, to have this Dhamma discussion, especially the people who constructed these temples, constructed these platforms, and who are paying for the infrastructure and also for the internet connections and devices, and who has sponsored for the devices. And let us remind all of them as well in this special occasion. And also the deities in the 6 realms of gods and 20 planes of Brahma, and also all the sentient beings in the universe. Let us remind all of them in this special occasion, and let us transfer this meritorious power to them wherever they are in this universe. If they are in miserable places, if they are in miserable places, may they refrain from doing sins. May they replace those sins with meritorious deeds, and may they lead happy lives, ultimately accomplishing or understanding the reality of the world, attaining the supreme bliss of Nibbana. Transfer this great meritorious power to all the sentient beings, including everyone, with metta and kindness, with this sadhukara.
Sadhu.
Sadhu.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
So let us wind up this session, and I would be reciting this Pali stanza, blessing everyone. Abhivadana Silisa Nichang Vadha Vichayano Chattaro Dhamma Vadanti Ayuvanno Sukambalang Ayurarogya Sampatti Sagga Sampatti Mevacha Atho Nibbana Sampatti Minati Samijjatu Sopateva. May everyone attain the supreme bliss of Nibbana.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Sadhu.
Thank you, Bhante.
Thank you very much,
Thero Saran.
Thero, for your kind time, as well as for giving us the wonderful explanations, and all the participants for your patience, your prompt attendance, as well as for posting these valuable questions. Once this is completed, I will upload them as usual. With that, we conclude the session. Teruvan Saranai Api Hamduna. Teruvan Saranai to all.
Teruvan Saranai, everyone.
Thero Saranai.
Everyone, Sanai.